So your vocab notebook should be open to the first, I'm sorry, not to the first page, but to the new places, new faces, vocabulary. Draw a line under number 7 because we're going to start today, which is, September 30th, 2020 with number 8. Okay, number 8 is the word escalator. Escalator. E-S-C-A-L-A-T-O-R. E-S-C-A-L-A-T-O-R. Escalator. Escalator is a noun. And it means a mechanical staircase that continually moves up or down. Please make sure that you are spelling all of the words in the definition as well as the vocabulary word correctly. What you should do after you finish writing is match each word you've written to the word up here. So look at escalator. Does it match escalator? Look at noun. Does it match noun? Look at A. Is it there? Does it match? Look at mechanical. Does that word match this word? Look at staircase. Does that word match this word? Look at that. Is it there? Does it match that word? Look at continually. Does it match continually? Look at moves. Does it match? Some of you are doing this, some of you are not. Look at up. Does it match? Look at or. Does it match? Look at down. Does it match? If it does not match, look at each word individually on your desk to make sure that it matches, to make sure it's there, and to make sure that the spelling matches. After you're done writing, that's what you should be doing. Make sure that each individual word matches. Don't just look at the whole definition because you may miss that you forgot the H in mechanical. But if you just look at mechanical on your page and mechanical up here, well, then you're only looking at one at a time. You're going to notice, oh, oops, I forgot the H. Let me go ahead and write it. So look at each word individually. I'm saying that. I hope that I'm using my breath up. I hope that you're actually listening to me because some people didn't do that, I can tell. Because as soon as they were done writing, they just stared at me instead of going back and checking. Number 9, if you need me to spell a word, raise your hand. Otherwise, please wait unless it's an emergency. Number 9. Hummingbird. This is a compound word, which means it's two separate words, humming and bird, put into one word. So there is no space between humming and bird. It's just H-U-M-M-I-N-G-B-I-R-D. Hummingbird. Hummingbird is another noun. And it means a tiny bird whose wings move so fast they make a humming sound. So hummingbird, H-U-M-M-I-N-G-B-I-R-D. It's a noun. It is a tiny bird whose wings move so fast they make a humming sound. Check each individual word. Does hummingbird match? Does this colon match? Does noun match? Does this semicolon match? Does a match? Does tiny match? Does bird match? Does whose match? Does wings match? Does move match? Does so match? Does fast match? Does they match? Does make match? Does a match? Does humming match? Does sound match? Are there any that you can't tell if they match or not? So you need to ask me for the spelling. Some of you are still not doing this. It is silly. It is not a good idea to just ignore all of these tools and these tricks and these tips that I'm giving to you. Let's look at escalator and hummingbird really quick. Those are nouns, people, places, things that I can make plural. How would I make escalator plural? How would I make escalator plural? Carla?
You add an S.
I would just add S because I don't have any of those hissing sounds, S, CH, SH, Z, or X. So I just add S. I also don't have a Y, so I don't have to worry about that. What about hummingbird? How would I make that plural? Victoria? Just add an S. My next word is immigration. I-M-M-I-G-R-A-T-I-O-N. Immigration. It is another noun. However, immigration is an idea. It is not a person, place, or thing. Almost always, we would never make an idea noun plural. There wouldn't be such thing as immigrations. Like the feeling of love. That is a plural, that is a noun. It's an idea. But would we ever say loves if we're talking about the noun? I feel loves. They feel loves. We feel loves.
No.
No. Now, if you're doing it as a verb, then sometimes yes. But normally, nouns that are ideas would not be ever plural. You would just be talking about it as an idea. So immigration is not a noun that we would ever make plural that I can think of. I can't think of a time when we do it. So immigration is a noun. It's an idea. And it means the movement of people from their native country. That means the country where they were born. Native country is the country where you were born. So the movement of people from their native country to live in another country. So it's the movement of people from their native country, where they were born, to live in another country. So immigration is not just if you go on vacation in another country. Immigration is when you're moving from the country you were born in to live in another country. Not just to go on vacation, not just to spend a few weeks or even a few months or even a year, but to live there permanently. So check every word. Does it match? Is it there? Immigration, colon, noun, semicolon, the movement of people from their native country to live in another country. Does anybody need me to spell anything? Okay, Kingston, those are your words. I'll give you 3 cards. Okay, so remember what we're talking about is making inferences. That's the skill that we're working on this week. That means we're asking ourselves questions about what's happening, why it's happening, what may happen next, who is this character, what are they like, how are they reacting, how may they react later, why are they reacting in this way. Those are all questions you can ask yourself to make inferences. So as you read, you should be asking yourself these questions, or I may be asking you these questions. So go ahead, put your face shields on quickly, and then we'll go ahead and read together. So first, as always, let's start with the genre. What is the genre of this story, Ethan?
It's realistic fiction.
Realistic fiction. So we already know by looking at that. Fiction means what, Ethan?
Fiction means
Is it real or is it made up? It's made up. Realistic, that was one of our, I think that was one of our vocab words. What does realistic mean? It seems like it's real. So, realistic fiction. Realistic means it seems like it's real. Fiction means it's made up. So is this story, did this actually happen, Ethan? No. Could it happen in real life, potentially? If it's realistic? Yeah, but it didn't. So go ahead and tell us exactly what realistic fiction is, Ethan.
Realistic fiction is a made-up story that could happen in real life.
Good, exactly like we just said. It's a made-up story, but it could have happened in real life. Okay, so Ethan, what are we going to be doing today? What's the skill we're going to be doing? Wow, what's the next? What comes next? Generate questions. Generate means come up with, write, think of, whatever. What are we going to be doing to do that, to practice that skill? Making inferences, which means we're going to be doing what? As you read, you're going to fill in your inferences word web. What are we going to find out by the end of this story, Ethan? Look at the... By the end of this story, we should know the answer to this question. What benefits does Amada get from keeping a diary? Zadie, legs under your desk, please. It's too tempting to look everywhere else but your book. So put your book on your desk straight. There you go. Everybody should be facing forward with their legs under their desk on the floor. Both legs, Zadie. Thank you. Okay, Ethan, go ahead and read the title and the author and illustrator.
My diary got created by
Amada. Amada Irma Perez.
Illustrated by
Maya.
Christina
There, very good. Illustrated by Maya Cristina Gonzalez. So who wrote the words? Victoria? Okay, we just said it. Ethan said it and I said it a couple times. Aaron? Not Amanda. Is there an N? Ethan, who wrote the words? Amada Irma Perez. I said it a couple times. Ethan said it a couple times. That means you should be saying it the same way if you were listening. Who drew the pictures? So Amada Irma Perez wrote the story. Who drew the pictures? Kingston? Maya Cristina Gonzalez. Okay, turn the page. Thank you very much, Ethan. Some of these paragraphs are long, which means some of you may only be reading one paragraph. Some of you may be reading two. Kingston, loudly and slowly. Read on page 183.
Dear Diary.
Louder. Louder.
I know I should be asleep already, but I just can't sleep. Don't write this all down first. Tonight my brother Mario.
Oh, you skipped a word.
Tonight after all my brothers.
You added a word. You skipped after, now you added all.
Tonight after my brothers Mario, Victor.
Loud, please.
Mario, Victor, Hector,
Raul. Raul.
Raul,
It's a name, so just try it.
Sergio,
Sergio, with confidence, no question at the end.
and I climbed into bed.
You skipped a word. Use your finger.
And all I climbed into bed.
Now you switch the words around.
And I all climbed into bed. I overheard Mom and Papa whispering. They were talking about leaving a little house in
Juarez.
Juarez, Mexico, where we lived our whole lives, and moving to Los Angeles in the United States. But why? How can I sleep knowing we might leave Mexico forever? I'll have to get to the bottom of this tomorrow.
Okay, so Kingston, you started out loud, but then you got quieter and quieter. Nobody should be turning the page. But then you got quieter and quieter to where I couldn't even hear you where I'm standing. You've got to stay loud the whole time. You can't get quieter and faster just because I haven't said anything to you in a little bit. You have to stay loud and slow. Okay, so let's think about what we just read. Who is Amada talking to? Michaela? Her diary. So, where is this, do you think? Zadie?
In her room,
In her room. Where?
in her house,
Juarez. Where?
Juarez,
In Juarez. What country is Juarez in?
Mexico.
Mexico. How do I know those things? How do I know she's talking to her diary? Smith?
Because it says it in the book.
It says, Dear Diary. How else do I know she's talking in her diary? Zadie? Do we always just need to look at the words to know what's happening in a story? Where else can we look? Zari?
On the pictures.
At the pictures. Well, what is she doing in this picture, Zari?
She has her flashlight and she has her diary in her hand.
Good.
And it looks like she has a pen.
Good. So not only can we make inferences by looking at the words, we can also look at the pictures if they're there. So we know she's talking to her diary. How do you know she's in her room? How do you know she's in her room? Carla?
I know she's in the room by somebody by her is asleep.
And where do you usually sleep?
In a bed.
In a bed, which is usually in a
Room.
room. Usually the bed you sleep in is your room. You may share that room with somebody. Does she share her room or does she have her own room? Aaron? Can't hear you.
She shares her
How do you know?
because it says she shares her room with all her.
Does it say she shares her room? Does it say, I share my room with my brothers, Mario, Victor, Hector, Raul, and Sergio. No, so how do you know that she shares the room? Raul, Sergio. So they're all in the same bed. So that probably means they share a room. Where else can you see that she doesn't have her own room? Zadie?
In the picture.
In the picture, you can see a face behind her. How do you know it's Juarez, Mexico? Zari?
Because it says, leaving our little house in Juarez, Mexico.
Juarez. Juarez, Mexico. You guys, I've said it a bunch of times. So you know it's in Juarez because it says it's in Juarez. Does the picture tell us it's in Juarez? What time of day is it? Cullen?
It's nighttime.
Nighttime. How do you know? Are there any words that say it's nighttime? Are there any words that indicate it's nighttime? Going to bed, it could be the middle of the day. It could be nap time. But what tells you that it's nighttime? Michaela?
All the lights are off and everybody's sleeping. She has a flashlight.
It looks like all the lights are off. And we can see people sleeping. And she has a flashlight. You only have a flashlight when it's dark. If they're all taking a nap in the middle of the day, which they could be, the words only say they're sleeping. You can sleep in the middle of the day. But if you're just napping, are you going to need a flashlight? No, because the sun will still be out. You'll still be able to see. Okay, yes, Sadie, quickly.
And she wouldn't have to have a flashlight.
That's what I just said. But yes, she wouldn't have to have a flashlight if it was a nap time during the day. But since it's night, it's dark, she needs a flashlight. Also, look at what she's wearing. It looks like pajamas. If you take a nap, do you necessarily need to put on pajamas? No, I don't. Okay, turn the page. Thank you, Kingston. Go ahead and read next. Zadie.
Today at breakfast, Mama explained everything. She said, Papa lost his job. There's no work here. No jobs at all. We know moving will be hard, but we want the best for all of you. Try to understand. I thought the boys would be upset, but instead they got really excited about moving to the States.
Keep going.
The big stories in El Paso,
Is there a T?
El Paso,
Good.
sell all kinds of toys. And they have escalators to ride. And the air smells like popcorn. Yum.
Pause for a second. Look at how they have that written. Where they have quotation, they have 3 different sentences in quotations on 3 different lines. What do you think that means? We have 3 different quotations on 3 different lines. Ethan, what do you think that means? Maybe. It doesn't really have, these sentences are exciting. How do we know that? What do we see at the end of each of those sentences, Ethan? We see an exclamation point. So that means these sentences are said with excitement, but that's not the reason why we have 3 different quotations on 3 different lines. Because sometimes we may have sad things or angry things or things that don't make you feel one way or the other. Why do they have 3 different quotes on 3 different lines, do you think? Victoria?
Because maybe the mother or whoever was speaking was going slow and she was getting a lot.
Maybe.
Getting excited about it.
Zadie?
Because 3 different people are saying it.
Good. Because 3 different people are saying it. Sometimes it takes away from the story if you say, the big stores in El Paso sell all kinds of toys, said Victor. And they have escalators to ride, said Sergio. And the air smells like popcorn. Yum, said Raul. Sometimes having that said so-and-so takes you out of the story. So what authors do is instead of telling you exactly who said it, they just put it in quotations and then go to a different line to say, hey, a new person's saying this. It keeps you more engaged in the story. The big stores in El Paso sell all kinds of toys. And they have escalators to ride. And the air smells like popcorn. Yum! You stay in the story more because you're not interrupted by said so-and-so. But the author still needs you to know, hey, the same person's not saying it every time, so I'll just put it on a new line. So if you see that in stories, that means a new person is saying it. Even though it doesn't tell you a new person is saying it, the fact that it's on a brand new line says, hey, a new person is saying this. Zadie, keep going.
I am the only one.
Not I am.
Am I the only one who is scared of leaving our home, our beautiful country, and all the people we might never see again?
So make an inference. How is Amada feeling about this move? Make sure you do have clues. Smith.
I think she's feeling pretty sad and angry.
Good. What makes you think that, Smith?
Because she asked if she's the only one feeling kind of bad about the move when her brothers are excited.
Good. Is there anything else, maybe from the page before? Zari, is there anything from the page before that tells you how she's feeling?
Yes.
What in the page before tells you how she's feeling? So good, Smith.
She said if she didn't write in her diary, she would burst.
So she's really anxious. She needs to write something down, otherwise she's going to burst. That could be from excitement, but Zari, what else on that page tells you it's not out of excitement? It's out of nervousness, scaredness, sadness, anger.
I overheard Mama and Papa whispering.
Does that have anything to do with how she's feeling? So is that a good clue for what makes her, that says she's nervous? No. Victoria?
They were whispering and they were talking about leaving our little house.
Again, does that tell us how she's feeling, or does that just tell us what's happening? So is that a good clue that tells you how she's feeling? Zari, you want to try again?
How can I sleep knowing we might leave Mexico forever?
She's saying, how can I sleep knowing we might have to leave Mexico forever? That is pretty strong language. Would you say something like that? I might have to leave forever if you're excited or happy about something. No, you'd say it if you're upset. You don't want to leave something forever. Also, where it says, where we've lived our whole lives. If you've lived in a place for your whole life, are you going to be that happy to move, or are you going to be kind of nervous? Kingston? Nervous. So that's a way you can make inferences using your own feelings. The fact that she says, where we've lived our whole lives, well, how would you feel if you had to move away from somewhere where you lived your whole life? Kingston? Not good, probably. Not good. Okay, go back to page 184, and I will continue reading. Make sure that you are paying close attention and following along. Just because I'm reading doesn't mean you can tune out or just listen. You still have to follow along. Oh wait, first, before that, compare and contrast the girl Amada and her brother's feelings about this move. Zadie kind of already did it, I think. Or maybe it was Victoria. Somebody already kind of did it. How are their feelings different? Ethan? Louder. The boys are excited? They're bouncing off the walls. They're talking about all the cool things that they're going to get to see. But, is Amada feeling the same way? She's feeling sad for reasons that we just talked about. Why do you think she's feeling differently than her brothers? Think about it. Why do you think she's feeling differently than her brothers? Zari?
Maybe because her friends, she knows that it's going to be hard for her to tell them she's moving away and she might never see them again.
Okay, but her brothers probably have friends too. So why do you think they're still excited even though they're going to have to do that too? Aaron?
Because
they might think they'll make new friends, and she might think that she's not going to meet anyone else because she got all her friends.
Good. So they're probably not scared of trying to make new friends. Amada is. So that shows they might be a little more adventurous and a little more outgoing than Amada. Also, they might not be as attached to where they live. She seems like she's older. Just reading this, I get the idea that she's older. Just because her brothers are so crazy, and so maybe they're really young. Because think about really young kids. They usually are a lot more wild than older kids. So her brothers seem younger. That means they haven't lived there as long. So Amada may just be more attached to her home than they are. So they're like, I've only lived here for like 3, 5, 6 years. Amada's might be like, oh, I've lived here for 12 years. So she's more attached. She's not quite as adventurous or outgoing. At least that's what it seems like to me. You may think something different. As long as something in this story or in these pictures makes you think something different, your answer might not be wrong. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and read. Make sure that you are following along. My best friend Mitchie and I walked to the park today. We passed Don Nacho's corner store and the women at the tortilla shop, their hands blurring like hummingbird wings as they worked the dough over the griddle. At the park, we braided each other's hair and promised never to forget each other. We each picked out a smooth, heart-shaped stone to remind us always of our friendship, of the little park, of Don Nacho and the tortilla shop. I've known Mitchie since we were little, and I don't think I'll ever find a friend like her in California. Ooh, so Aaron, you said almost exactly that. Where you said maybe her brothers aren't scared of making new friends, but she thinks I'm not going to make a new friend. Was your inference correct? Is that how is that how the text is telling us that she feels? Yes. So sometimes our inferences are right there in black and white after we make them. Sometimes they're not, but sometimes we can tell. Please make sure you're paying attention. You're lucky your family will be together over there, Mitchie said. Her sisters and father work in the U.S. I can't imagine leaving anyone in our family behind. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. And read next. Zari, loud and slow. This is a long paragraph, so you'll just read this page, and then we'll have somebody else.
Okay, diary, here's the plan. In 2 weeks, we leave for my grandparents' house. In Mexico.
Not Mexicile. Look at where that I is. If an I is at the end of a word, we usually only see that in other languages, and it would sound like E.
Mikhail.
Sorry, I don't know. You had the beginning. I don't know why you changed that. Cover up A-L-I. What does that look like the beginning of? What word?
Me.
No, look, you're only covering up A-L-I. What does that look like? What word does that look like? Who can help her out? Mexico. So are we going to say that first part like Mexi?
No.
How are we going to say that first part? Mexi.
Mexico.
Well, we're not going to say it like Mexico, but we're going to say it like Mexi. The same way in Mexico, but we're not going to say Mexico. How would you say Mexi?
Messi.
Mexi. Now cover up Mexi, and we have Cali. I already told you that I at the end. We usually only see that in other languages, like Spanish and Italian. And you say it like long E, like E. So how would you say Cali, knowing that that I sounds like long E?
Cali.
Cali. So now put Mexi and Cali together.
Mexico. Mexicali.
Mexicali.
Mexicali. In 2 weeks, we leave for my grandparents' house in Mexicali, right across the border from Calexico,
Good.
Calexico, California. We stay with them while Papa goes to Los Angeles to look for work. We can only take what will fit in the old car Papa borrowed. We're selling everything else. Meanwhile, the boys build cardboard cities and act like nothing bothers them. Mama and Papa keep talking about all the opportunities we'll have in California. But what if we're not allowed to speak Spanish? What if I can't learn English? Will I ever see
Remember what I said about an I at the end. Remember what I said about I at the end, Zari. What does it sound like? What is an I at the end?
sound like an E.
Good. So cover up I. How would you say that? Cover up the I at the end. And how would you say that?
Mitch.
Mitch. Now add that letter at the end.
Mitchie.
There you go.
Will I ever see Mitchie again? What if I never come back?
Good. So let's think about what Zari just read. She read the names of real towns. Mexicali, Mexico. Calexico, California. Los Angeles, California. Would a fantasy story need to use real city names? No. So authors, when they're writing realistic fiction and they're trying to make you see, hey, this could happen in real life, they're going to use real places. They might not always, but if they want to make you see, hey, this could happen, this might be happening, they're going to use real places. It helps you to see how real and to see how realistic this is. What else in this paragraph could happen in real life? What else in this paragraph that Zari just read could happen in real life? Victoria?
The boys can actually make cardboard boxes.
Very good. Kids can actually make cardboard box cities, especially, and when you're moving, what do you have a lot of around? Boxes. Good. Michaela, what were you gonna say?
You can actually make Mexico and you might not be allowed to speak Spanish.
Good. You actually can move from Mexico to America, and you might actually be afraid that you can't speak Spanish. You might not be able to speak Spanish where you go. Zadie?
You might actually, like someone might go to their grandparents' house.
Somebody would actually go to their grandparents' house. Good. Cullen?
They might not learn English.
You might not be able to learn English easily if you move, or learn a new language easily or quickly. What about if you move? Is there a chance that you'll never go back? Yeah. Okay, good. We have 10 minutes, which means we can get to the next page. So let's go ahead, Zari. Thank you. Please read next. Smith, loud and slow. You'll go ahead and read this whole page.
Today, while we were packing, Papa pulled me aside. He said, Amada,
That's a Spanish word. Think about your Spanish rules that you've learned.
Mija, I can see how worried you've been. Don't be scared. Everything will be all right. But how do you know? What will happen to us? I said. He smiled. Mija.
Carla, make sure you're paying attention.
Mija, I was born in Arizona in the States. When I was 6, not a big kid like you, my papa and mama moved our family back to Mexico. It was a big change, but we got through it. I know you can too. You are stronger than you think. I hope he's right. I still need to pack my special rock. And you, diary. We leave tomorrow.
Good. So, why is Papa not really that scared? Why is Papa not that scared? Ethan? He's done the same thing before. He was born in a certain place and then had to move. Where was he born? Cullen?
In Arizona.
In Arizona. Where did he have to move? Aaron? Mexico. So he actually did the exact opposite of what Amada's having to do. And do you think it turned out all right for him?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why do you think it turned out all right for him? Zadie? Michaela?
Because maybe his parents actually pulled him aside and told him.
So maybe they said the same thing, but why do you know that it turned out okay? That moving from one place to another when he was a kid turned out okay for Papa. Zari?
Because he wouldn't be telling his daughter that she would be okay if he wasn't okay when he moved.
Very good. Because he wouldn't necessarily be telling her it'll be okay if it wasn't okay for him. He might use different words to make her feel better, or he might not do it at all. If it was really, really bad for him when he was a kid, he may not even do it. Kingston, put it down, otherwise you don't get to have it. If the water bottles become a distraction, that means you don't get one. You get it at lunch and that's it. It stays in your backpack the rest of the day. Very good. Now, let's look at this box on page 10 where it says make inferences. This is going to be our first inference word web. Our inference is going to answer this question. Inferences always answer questions. So you should be coming up with those questions yourself as you are reading independently. In this case, because we're learning to make inferences, the book has come up with our question. We're going to find clues that lead us to the answer to this question. So anytime you make an inference, you are answering a question. As you're reading, you need to come up with those questions yourself. This one is by the book, so it's an example of the kind of question you would ask yourself to make an inference. Based on Amada's journal entries, what do you think she is feeling about the move? How can you tell? So before we answer it, before we make the inference, let's find clues. Some of them are on this page, some of them are on the page before. So let's go to the page before. And what are some clues that tell you how she's feeling? What is she asking herself? Carla.
One of the questions she asked herself is, what if we never come back?
So, What is she worried about?
She's worried about if they're not coming back to the.
So she's worried she's never going to see Mexico again. She's also worried about never seeing what else or who else? Aaron? She's worried about never seeing Mitchie. I'm sorry, I just gave you the answer. Mexico, or what else is she worried she'll never see again? Carla told us Mexico. Mitchie. So one of our clues is Amada is worried she'll never see Mitchie or Mexico again. What else is she worried about here? What else is she worried about? Colin?
If she can never learn English.
She's worried she'll never learn English. What else is she wondering or thinking? Zari?
Will I ever come back to Mexico?
What else is she worried about? She's worried she'll never see Mitchie or Mexico again. She's worried she'll never learn English. Carla, I do see your hand, but I want to give somebody else a chance. If nobody else volunteers, because they're not reading their story, then I will call on you. Zari, do you see something else? What else is she worried about? You're still muted.
She's worried that she'll never make any more friends.
Okay, that kind of goes with Mitchie. Look at page 186. Usually when we're making inferences about kind of one page or one section at a time. Zadie?
This kind of goes along with the clue we just did, but she's scared she can't learn English, or she won't be allowed to speak English.
English? Does she know English yet? So would she worry she's not allowed to speak English if she doesn't even know it?
Spanish.
So she's worried she won't be allowed to speak Spanish. And then now let's go to the page we were on, page 189. What do we see on page 189 that shows kind of how she's feeling about it? Look especially at the very end. What is she saying to herself or her diary that tells us how she's feeling? Victoria?
I hope you're right
About what?
about moving,
Specifically, what about moving?
about moving to Los Angeles.
But what does he say about moving to Los Angeles? That it's going to be what?
It was going to be a big change.
Well, is she worried about it being a big change? She knows it's going to be a big change. So, she hopes her father is right about Aaron?
She hopes her father is right about it's going to be all right.
Very good. About everything being okay. If you believe somebody when they say everything's going to be all right, Do you hope that they're right? If you believe someone, are you going to hope that they're right, or are you just going to know? Listen to my question. Think about it before you answer. If you believe somebody, they say something, you know, okay, that's true. Are you going to hope that they're right? Zari?
You would hope that they're right.
If you believe them, are you going to hope that they're right? Zadie?
No.
No.
Why?
Because you'll know they're right.
Because you'll know they're right. If you know something. Colin?
No.
No, because you know it. So the fact that she hopes her father is right, that everything will be okay, not that she knows he's right and everything will be okay, adds to all these to tell us how is she feeling about this move. Carla?
She is feeling kind of scared, and then she starts to get hope.
Well, has she gotten hope yet, or is she just saying, I hope he's right? I don't know. Does she actually have that hope yet, or is she just saying she hopes?
She's saying that she hopes.
So, has she started to have hope yet? Has anything even happened to give her much hope?
Not yet.
Not yet. So, the first part was correct. Amada is still, even after talking to her dad, scared about moving. Do you agree with that inference? Has there been anything that happened, any clues that lead us to think the answer to that question, how is she feeling about moving? Any other answer other than she's scared? She's nervous?
She feels better about it.
Does she? Where does it say she feels better? Does it say that anywhere? No. Just because we have the word hope, does that mean she's having hope? Or she just is hoping? Having hope means, okay, I bet it can happen. I can feel it. Hoping means you don't know either way how you feel. So is there anything, even though she hopes her father is right, does she have hope? Having hope is different from just hoping.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are thinking about the difference in these words. Okay, go ahead and put that in your page. Close your book. Put your book away. Stand up. Push your chair in. Yes, Sadie?
And I think she's just thinking about the bad things that could happen, and her brothers are thinking about the good things.
Good. So far she's just thinking about the bad things. Just because her dad said that, has that given her hope yet? Or is she just like, I hope he's right? No. She's still just thinking about the bad things. Yes, Victoria, quickly.
The baby said she's not positive, she's negative, and her brother's positive.
Good. So another difference. She's negative. She has negative feelings. Her brothers have positive feelings. Carla, quickly.
I think she's starting to get hope.
Do you think so? Has there been anything yet that tells you that? Or do you think that maybe something's going to happen later that's going to give her hope?
Something's going to happen later that she's going to get hope.
Good. So make sure you see the difference. There has really been nothing that tells us that she is starting to feel better. There is nothing that has happened yet that tells us she is going to feel better. But an inference we can make is that maybe something's going to happen that makes her feel better. So we haven't seen anywhere that she has hope yet. But you can make an inference that something will happen. Okay.
Miss Phyllis.